stated. It's a fiduciary arrangement in which a trustee, who's a third party, you name a trustee. A third party has the authority to hold the assets on behalf of a beneficiary. So it's your asset, you're locking it up in a trust, you appoint a trustee, their job, they owe a duty to hold it like the way you said. You know, sometimes you have heard these people leaving, $1 million to their kid, but they don't get it when they're 18. The trust will hold it. It says, at 25, give him $500,000. At 30, give him another 100,000. When he gets married, give him, you can do things like that. So that's, that's the way to do it. And then it's not a public record, so it's kind of a private deal. So which is good. So nobody knows your personal business. It's not filed anywhere. Unless it goes to litigation, no one's going to know. And it has a lot of tax benefits. So let's talk about. There's a lot of little subtype of trust, but I'm just going to go through some of the main things about trust. Two main types of trust, and then we'll get into the different sub-examples. Revocable trust and irrevocable trust. Revocable trust, it means you can revoke it, you can change it. So let's talk about that. It allows the grantor, which is you who's making this trust, you're putting some asset in a trust. It allows the grantor to revoke or change the trust in any manner. The grantor retains control, including income from the legal title of any property in the trust. So if you put some rental homes in there, you can control where the income is going from that. And you can name yourself co-trustee. You should name a trustee. You can name yourself co-trustee, and you can manage it. So that's a trust. It does give you some protection, but it doesn't give you all the tax benefits that you could otherwise get. So that's a revocable trust. Irrevocable trust. Now this is where you can't change it. You take some money or asset, you put it in a trust, you lose control. Grantor has no control over the trust property. The control over income and property are given to the trustee. The trustee will decide how it's going to be distributed. Go ahead.
You said about this different ages, like 18, one lump sum payment, 25, another. So this trust, the money holds the bank or the trust holds the money?
The trust controls the money, but you decide how it's going to be held. There may not be a bank account. It may be a house, a rental property. So, or it could be a bank account and it's earning the interest. So, I was just giving an example on how you can direct the money or the asset to go. You can control. So you can make it a revocable, where you can change it anytime, or irrevocable. Once you do that, there's no turning back. You cannot break that trust. So then you lose control over the property. But the advantage is it helps you avoid estate taxes and probate. It protects from creditors. So there's some advantages to doing that. Even though you lose control, you save on taxes. I'm not going to give tax advice because I don't practice tax attorney, but I'm not a tax attorney. However, the trust we can set up, and it'll give you a lot of advantages for taxes. So you heard of the term living trust. So you can make it revocable or irrevocable. The grantors can, usually you choose a guardian to act in case you become incapacitated. And the trustee can distribute the assets according to the grantor's wishes. So it can happen in your lifetime. You become incapacitated, a guardian comes in and he executes what's in the trust. Testamentary, and so I'm just going to run through a few examples. Testamentary trust. That is established through a will. This is, when you die, this trust will take over. And what's in it, you will usually name a guardian to watch it. So minor, you can have a guardian to take care of minors, and then distributes the assets. So sometimes, if you have young children, you can put this trust to take over as soon as you die, or soon you or your wife dies. then you have minor children. So you can name maybe your brother or somebody to take care of your kids and become their guardian, and then distribute the assets like how you, so they can protect the estate, your estate, they can fight for it, protect it, and distribute it the way you want. So that's a testamentary trust. Then you have asset protection trust that allows shielding assets from creditors. You can set up trust to keep it from creditors. This is, it's a weird word, but it's called Crummy test because it's named after a case, Crummy versus Commissioner of Internal Revenue. This allows the distribution of assets to beneficiaries, for example, like children. Special Needs Trust. This is designed to provide continuing support for beneficiaries. So this could be for minors or some earlier example, if there's an intellectual development child or who grows up to be adult. So this would be a trust for maintaining that. So you can put some assets, people, we learn about with children like this. So this is the trust they should set up. So after something happens to them, it will continue to take care of their special needs children. Charitable trust. So this, if you want to leave something for your nonprofit, for your church or whatever, grantor can decide how the assets are distributed. So under this, there's something called charitable lead trust. So same thing is for charity, but certain benefits you can make it go to charity. The remainder, it can go to your beneficiaries. You can name somebody else. So that's called a charitable lead trust. Charitable remainder trust is, you can set it up where you get the income from this trust, but after a certain time or after you die, then the remainder will go to the charity. So that way you can continue to enjoy your own income. And then there's something called the grantor retained annuity trust. This is irrevocable. It's funded by a gift from the grantor, and then it's designed to shift future appreciation to the next generation. And so this is for appreciating assets you want. In your lifetime, you can turn it over to the children. And then this is marital aid trust. It's called aid trust. This is for surviving spouse, and it's usually in the taxable estate of the surviving spouse. B trust, bypass. This is to credit shelter trust. This bypasses the surviving spouse's estate, and that'll give you some federal estate tax exemption. Irrevocable life insurance trust. This is designed to exclude life insurance from the deceased taxable estate. So if you die, to remove that proceeds out of the estate so it doesn't get taxed. And it gives immediate liquidity to your estate for expenses, funeral expenses, whatever you need. And American Library of trust. So we can have SPCA recommends this. Pet will be provided with the benefits. We love our pets, so if something happens, we want to make sure the pet is going to be okay. So we can even set it for that. And that's my presentation, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Without making the will, like you said, it's a state property, community property. So what happens to that his estate or his what do you call, whatever he assets or whatever he owns?
So if there's no will, the half of the community estate, if it's real property, 1/3 will go to the children, 2/3 will go to the spouse. So now what happens?
How much state gets?
State doesn't get anything.
No.
State's not going to take anything. They want taxes.
Oh.
So if they're looking to taxes. Now creditors will come after him. If he has any debt, creditors will try to come capture his money out of his estate.
But that happens only if there's a lien, right?
If there's what?
A lien to the property or something like that?
Lien? No. They can. So what happens is when you die, suddenly there's an estate. The estate has a value. So if you were getting sued for something, or if you were, if you owe some debt to somebody, they can try to attach that interest in the estate now. So that's where the problems could happen with the community property.
If you don't have a will.
If you don't have a will. So sometimes, see, there's some examples. In fact, we have another litigation we're handling where there's stepchildren, but the father died. He has his children from the first marriage. He also has children from the second marriage. The wife suddenly has an interest. She's got 2/3 of the interest in the real property, but these kids cannot get their value out because the other kids also have interest. And then she has a life interest in the house because it's the homestead. So you can't kick her out of that either. So now there's a litigation between the first children and the other family.
Texas state എനിക്ക് ബില്ല് മൂവ് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അത് വാലിഡ്.
Yes.
It's valid
Yes.
all 50 states.
So it's valid everywhere, but you may have to go to the other state and go to a probate court in that state and have a judgment from that state.
Oh.
So the states do respect each other. It's like, but no, Kalyanam evada kadichaalum, naati kadichaalum, ibade the family courts control that. The divorce, everything, ibade law will control.
It's valid.
Yeah, it's valid.
First, you have to have, if you don't have $1 million or something, you don't need a trust. So I heard like.
Yeah, the thing is, everything has some expense, right? So if you don't have that much assets, you don't need to, have trust.
Okay.
But you're concerned about taxes and how it's going to be distributed, then that's advisable. So it's a judgment call, but there's no limit like that. There's no dollar amount. The more assets you have, the probably should have a trust. Yes, sir.
Two questions on that. ഒന്ന് ഒരാൾക്കൊരു ഒരു ലോ സൂട്ട് വന്നാൽ ഈ ട്രസ്റ്റിനകത്ത് കിടക്കുന്ന പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി ആ ലോ സൂട്ട് സൂ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും.
So that's one of the things. From trustee, കിടക്കുന്ന സാധനങ്ങൾ is more protected, especially irrevocable trust ആണെങ്കിൽ ആർക്കും തൊടാതെ പ്രയാസമായിരിക്കും.
അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ബാങ്ക് അക്കൗണ്ട് ഈ ട്രസ്റ്റിന്റെ അണ്ടറിലെ ബാങ്ക് അക്കൗണ്ട് ആണെങ്കിൽ പലരും പറയുന്നത് അതിനകത്ത് മറ്റുള്ള അക്കൗണ്ട് ഫ്രീസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല, പിന്നെ ലീൻ ഇടാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ ഓതറൈസ് ചെയ്യാതെ പുള്ള ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല. അങ്ങനെ ഒരുപാട് ബെനിഫിറ്റ് ഉണ്ട്. അതിനെപ്പറ്റി ഒന്ന് പറയും.
Yeah, so that goes back talking about assets putting in a trust. It doesn't matter bank account on a real estate asset on it doesn't matter. Stocks on it that's not the issue. The issue is it's in a trust or not. If it's in a trust, then it has more protection. If it's in an irrevocable trust, it has very good protection. But the problem is you don't have control over that either.
You mean the third party means is one of the family member or third party?
Anybody you
If I
assign.
have 5 kids and me and my wife, if I do a trust, then who is the third party in this case? So I can decide.
Yeah, you decide that.
That third party is the only person to authorize to sell, buy a transaction.
That's correct.
Only one person.
Only one person.
If that person is some,
Second option, third option.
or you already put in that.
Yeah, usually that's why I told you earlier. Think about first person is probably going to be your wife, most likely.
Okay.
I don't tell you who to put, but if you want, other than your personal decision.
That's okay.
But most people say it's the wife, but we always say, give me 2 more names.
Yeah, my name.
ഒരു ചോദ്യമുണ്ട്. ഈ ഇവിടെ ഇരിക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കാർക്കെല്ലാം ഒരു സംശയമാണ്, ഏതാണ് നമുക്ക് അപ്രോപ്രിയേറ്റ്, ബില്ലാണോ ട്രസ്റ്റ് ആണോ? അതായത് എനിക്കിപ്പോൾ 500,000 അസറ്റ് കാണും, 2 ബില്ലുള്ളവർ കാണും, ഏതാണ് അപ്രോപ്രിയേറ്റ് ഒരു ഇത് ആണ്?
So that's a private discussion, but will you should do no matter what. Everybody should do a will. That without doubt.
Okay.
Whether you want to do the trust is a different question. It's not a choice. You should definitely do the will. And then one of the examples that I showed was a trust that becomes active when the will happens.
Okay.
Okay?
And this Roman is the right question. How much you going to charge for the making the will?
So I told you we don't do the whole package. It depends upon how complex is your situation. Okay, but
Package means will and trust together or?
no.
Will package.
All
Just the will package.
Will package.
What is 7 documents now to go? Yeah, so that one, I can go to that.
Yes, sir. Will package.
Yeah, this one. So we'll do all of these, okay? But if it's not too complicated, we charge anywhere from around $1,800 to $2,700, okay? But what I would caution you is, don't try to go get the cheapest thing you can get. You know, it doesn't matter that much. Like, what's the difference? $1,000? And you could probably try to find something cheaper, or you could go to a person who's not practicing law to do that and get it even cheaper. It's you're protecting $1 million and you're worried about a few $100. That's not the way to think about it. You know, the price is not the issue. The cost will come because you didn't do a good job. The $50,000 that's going to go for the litigation. That's the true cost. The $2,000, $3,000 you spend on a package, that's not the issue. Not done correctly, it's going to go to litigation, tens of thousands of dollars to get where you need. That happens all the time, and us attorneys love that because we get business. You know, home divorce court, then they hire us. Now we have a good litigation, we have good business. We don't mind that. But my advice is do it right early.
ഇത് ഒരുതവണ ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഇപ്പോൾ സപ്പോസ് ഒരുതവണ ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് പിന്നെ വെൽത്ത് കൂടുതൽ അഡൻഡമായിട്ട് ആഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമോ?
Yes. നമുക്ക് എപ്പോഴും ഇത് അഡ്ജസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാം.
അങ്ങനെ അഡ്ജസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുമ്പം അത് പേ ചെയ്യണോ?
Yeah, free ആയിട്ടൊന്നും ചെയ്യില്ല.
ആഡ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ കോസ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടോ എന്ന് ചോദിക്കും.
Yeah, adding a cost on it, but it's not that much. Maybe it's just a minor thing. But the thing is, every time you buy another house or something, you don't need to, for small things, adjust like that. Because we will make it broad enough saying, look, my real estate property, 50% is going to her, 50% is going to him. You know, you can do it like that.
Yeah.
So we can still cover it. But you should every once in a while, in a few years, update. Minor, they become adults, so maybe you need some other changes. Maybe you name one of the children as earlier they were too young, but now they're older. Maybe they're the second option for being the executor. So you may make some adjustment like that. And that wouldn't be starting from zero, so the charge should be too much for that.
And the bill county registry and option.
So that will we don't. That's a private thing, and you don't want to really put it out there. Revocable transfer on debt. That's worth putting it in the county, because then the county record immediately has who's the owner.
And the trust, how much is the around cost?
There's no. That's a. You have to sit down and figure out what all the assets, and then you will give you a estimate on what it will cost. It could be a lot.
Different price.
Yeah, different price. Yeah.
And the trust is now maintaining fees or nothing, just only one time.
So yeah, this is one time, but when the trustee starts, so it depends on what kind of trust it is. When the trustee is doing something, that trustee needs to be compensated, or they can be. You know, just like the executor of a will, there's a reasonable compensation for them. You know, they have to go to court, they may have to hire an attorney to do something, so the state pays for those things, expenses. They may have to fly somewhere to handle something. Those are expenses that the estate needs to pay.
Last will and testament
Revocable transfer of debt?
last will.
Last one, test it.
The revocable transfer on death.
Okay.
So when you prepare it, you will do register the county.
Yeah, or you can file it with the county. Wherever you.
When you do this one at this point itself, say if I revocable transfer on the.
Yes, you file
have
it.
to, no, I have to file it immediately.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah,
Even
that's
if
what
you
it's
don't,
gonna
we
be.
have something. So if you do die, that paper's there, your heirs can take it to the county, but it's probably better to file it early. The difference, somebody asked, what is the difference?
Yes.
So the difference is, that's just revocable transfer, that's just for the property. The property will automatically be registered under the other person's name. Okay, that's just the property. Last will and testament is much broader, it's a much bigger document. It covers everything else,
Include the property.
including the property. Any other questions?
So, if I am hospitalized, so I cannot make a decision. So I am, they put me in ventilator. I don't want. Is there anything is I can add on this will or medical?
Yes, so the medical power of attorney will, directive to physicians is there, but the medical power of attorney, maybe your wife will be in control of that. So she can decide that. And
Or
then,
she can, or I can make no. So she may put me in a ventilator. I don't want it. So how we can add on that?
Then you're in trouble. I would take care of her now. So she doesn't do that.
Don't hear.
ഇത് ചിലപ്പോ അച്ഛനോട് സംസാരിക്കുന്ന കാര്യം അല്ല. So that's the thing. The person you pick, you have to really, really trust. Okay, you have to trust them.
My wife keep on asking this.
But you can change it anytime. That's the nice thing about it. As long as you're mentally confident before something happens, you can change any of this. That's an easy thing to do.
The revocable transfer on that, I register one day.
Uh-huh.
So I record it with the county.
Uh-huh.
So I, as it says, it's a revocable, I do something else. So I am redoing that one.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to happen.
Yes.
When
You can revoke it.
I can revoke it.
You can revoke it, yes. That's
So
why I
on
put
the
it out there.
revocable trust, I
Yeah.
mentioned. So on the revocable trust, when you put the things in the trust, but still the creditors can come back, come after.
Yeah, revocable is not as safe as irrevocable. But it still gives you a lot of protection. You know, so it depends on what exactly you're talking about. But it's harder for other people to attack.
Does it get that bankruptcy protection? Irrevocable.
When you say bankruptcy protection,
Bankruptcy means if I go bankrupt.
if you go declare bankruptcy, the judge will be in control of that. If it's revocable, the judge may or may not, but the judge probably will go after other things first before he or she attacks the trust. Usually trusts are more respected, but revocable trust is attackable.
Yeah.
Irrevocable is unattackable, or not. I would say it's waterproof, but it's a lot safer. But the downside is you lose control. You give up the control.
Will fee is the same for any amount or different on the others? Will fee എല്ലാവർക്കും ഒരു ഫീയാണോ അതോ വ്യത്യാസമുണ്ടോ?
Trust of the it depends on the complexity.
Trust ഉണ്ട്, will.
Will sometimes it varies a little bit. What I'll do is I don't usually deal with the money things too much. I have a full-time employee, my operations manager. He handles all this. I will tell him to give everybody from the chamber a discount. Okay, I do that sometimes for Malayalis, but this is because chamber invited me to make this. I will instruct. His name is David Culler. He's the guy who takes care of the business. I don't deal with the money, charging all that. You write the check to him. He handles that. So, but I will tell him anybody from the chamber will get a discount. And he'll do it.
Actually, എന്തെങ്കിലും പ്രശ്നം ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
നമ്മുടെ സൗത്ത് ഇന്ത്യൻ ചേംബർ ഓഫ് കൊമേഴ്സിന്റെ സെക്രട്ടറി ജി ഒരിക്കൽ ഇപ്പോൾ ഓട്ടോ ഡാൻസ് പറയുന്നതായിരിക്കും. അതിനുശേഷം എല്ലാവർക്കും ഭക്ഷണം ക്രമീകരിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. അത് ഫോട്ടോ സെക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് പോകാവൂ.
ഗുഡ് ഈവനിങ് എവരിവൺ. നമ്മളെല്ലാം വളരെ ഭംഗിയായിട്ടൊരു സ്പീച്ച് കേട്ടു. അതായത് അമേരിക്ക എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ അമേരിക്കയിലെ ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ ആണ് മണി. ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മളൊരു ലോയറെ കണ്ടു കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ചോദിക്കണമെങ്കിൽ, കാരണം എനിക്കൊരു ആവശ്യം വന്നപ്പം പല തവണ ലോയർക്ക് ഇമെയിൽ അയച്ചു. ആ ഇമെയിലിന് വേർഡ് ബൈ ആയിട്ടായിരുന്നു ബില്ല് വന്നത്. ഇമെയിലിന്റെ ബില്ല് തന്നെ 15,000 രൂപ വന്നു. സത്യത്തിൽ നടന്ന കാര്യമാണ്. അന്ന് അമേരിക്കയിൽ ഒന്നും ഫ്രീ ആയിട്ട് കിട്ടുന്നില്ല. അന്ന് ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ വളരെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആണ്. അത് ഇന്നിപ്പോ ഈ അവസരത്തില് മിസ്റ്റർ ജെയ്സൺ നമ്മളോട് ഇത്രയും നല്ല രീതിയിൽ ആ കാര്യങ്ങളെ പറ്റി വിശദീകരിച്ചു തന്നു. ഇനിയിപ്പോ ഇതിനകത്ത് താല്പര്യമുള്ളവർക്കൊക്കെ വില്ലോ ട്രസ്റ്റ് ഏതാന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ തിരഞ്ഞെടുക്കാം. പക്ഷെ ഒരു ഐഡിയ കിട്ടി, ഏതാണ്ടൊരു ഐഡിയ, ഒരു ബേസിക് ഐഡിയ കിട്ടി. വളരെ ചേംബറിന്റെ നാമത്തിൽ വളരെ താങ്ക് യു. ഈ അവസരം ഞങ്ങളത് യൂട്ടിലൈസ് ചെയ്തു. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഭാര്യ മിസ് ഉഷ, താങ്ക് യു ഫോർ കമ്മിങ് ടുഡേ. നമ്മുടെ യൂട്യൂബർ, നമ്മുടെ എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങൾക്കും ഇപ്പം ഇതേപോലെ വരുന്നുണ്ട്. യൂട്യൂബറാണ് മിസ്റ്റർ സെയിൻ. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഇവിടെ കൂടിയിരിക്കുന്ന ഓരോരുത്തർക്കും ഈ സൺഡേയില് ടൈം സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്ത് ഇവിടെ വരികയും ഇത് കാണുകയും ചെയ്ത ഓരോരുത്തർക്കും എന്റെ നാമത്തിലും ചേംബർ ഓഫ് കോമേഴ്സിന്റെ നാമത്തിലും VODs എല്ലാവർക്കും ഈ അവസരത്തിൽ താങ്ക് യു വെരി മച്ച്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ആർക്കെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഫ്ലയർ കൂടിയുണ്ട്. മിസ്റ്റർ ജെയ്സനെ നേരിട്ട് പോയി കാണാം, അല്ലെ ഫോൺ വിളിക്കാം. കൂടുതൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ പാസ് ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ ഈ അവസരത്തിൽ പാസ് ചെയ്യാം.
So if ആർക്കെങ്കിലും interest ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ they can give me their name and number, I'll have my guy call.
ഇപ്പൊ ഒരു പേപ്പർ പാസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതില് ഫോൺ നമ്പരും ഇമെയിലോ കോണ്ടാക്ട് ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ എഴുതുകയാണെങ്കിൽ മിസ്റ്റർ ജെയ്സ് is going to contact you time wise. Okay, thank you one more time. സോഷ്യൽ അവറിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ നീങ്ങാണ്. ഒരു പിക്ചർ എടുത്തതിന് ശേഷം സോഷ്യൽ അവറിലേക്ക്. ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു.